Welcome back to the arcade. As you can see, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time is still going strong. If you haven't seen that video where I replaced the volume pot on the board and got the sound working again, be sure to check that out. But this video is not about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time. And it's not about the Gorf RAM cards, which I'm currently still waiting for some DRAM to show up. So that's on hold. So until then, I thought we would do something a little different here. So let me get set up here and show you what I got. Well, last October, I was looking through eBay and I found this auction for a game board, and it had a buy it now price on it. I forget the exact buy it now price, but it was a pretty good price, but it was one of them deals where the board was untested, so it was unknown if it worked. According to the pictures, it looked fairly good. It looked complete, but you know, it's hard to tell by looking at a few pictures. So anyway, I said, well, I'll just keep an eye on it. And a week or so later, eBay sent me a little notification, want to know if I was still interested in the board that the seller had offered a discount on it. And I think it might have been something like a 20% discount. I don't remember exactly. It was last October, and this, of course, is the middle of January. So anyway, it turns out with the discount, the buy it now price was $89.99. So I decided to take a chance on it, and it was $17.69 for shipping and $5.40 for state of Virginia tax. You know, they got to get that tax. So this board ended up costing me a total of $113.08. Well, that could be a good price if the board works. Might be a good price if the board doesn't work and is repairable. So, let me take it out the box and let's see what it is. I know what it is, but you don't. And anybody who knows anything about arcade boards might be able to know what it is, but maybe you won't know what it is until you get a closer look at it. So yeah, that is definitely a Nintendo board. But what Nintendo board? And it's not in the best shape, but I've seen much worse. Let's see, it seems to be complete, although a lot of the ICs, the legs, look like they're a little bit on the rusty side, but I've seen that plenty of times too. So anyway, it comes with the edge connector, and it comes with the rainbow connector, which plugs in from the main board to the, I believe this is the video board on the back here. The video board side looks a little bit better. Not too bad. So anyway, all right, well, what am I going to do with this? Well, first, what is it? Anybody know what it is? Well, it's supposed to be a Popeye. Yep, that's right. Is the Popeye still for sale? Not this one. Okay, well, what am I going to do with it? Well, first let's see if it works. What I did, since I have my JAMA cabinet here that I was just running Turtles in Time on, I went to Mike's Arcade and I picked up this little board here, which is a Nintendo Classic to JAMA adapter. And that's a pretty neat little thing. It has, of course, for a Nintendo board with the edge connector, and then it has the jammer connector where you can hook this into a jammer cabinet. It also has a onboard audio amplifier with a volume control, and it has a onboard inverter which inverts the video because the Nintendo board here puts out negative color signal, so that the colors on a regular monitor will look messed up. But if you know about Nintendo, you know about that. And it comes with 3 little pots here where you can adjust the color to get the color just right. Okay, so figured I'd try this out, and we'll put it on the board, and we'll hook up the JAMA connector, and we'll fire it up and just see what happens. So first, let me go ahead and take this edge connector off. If I can get it off. And it's on there pretty good. There shouldn't be nothing holding it on. That was pretty tight. Let's see what the connector looks like. A little bit on the dirty side, but it don't look too bad. If I have to, I ordered another. I couldn't find mine, so I had to get another one of these fiberglass scratch pins. So if I need to, I can clean that up. But let's try it just like it is right now. I'm assuming that the part side of this goes on the part side of this, because it's not keyed. But I'm assuming that's the way it goes. And this, of course, my JAMA connector here doesn't have a key in it, but I already wrote part side on it, and I put a little mark here where the key goes, so I know that's correct. That's a lot of weight on that. Let me hook it on the joystick there. Okay, let me reposition the camera, and then we'll power this thing up and we'll see what we get. Okay, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have high hopes of this board working, but you never know. Sometimes you get lucky, but I'm not usually that lucky. So, with that said, let me flip the power and see what happens. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, well, looks like I'm not that lucky. Okay. Well, now the only thing to do is to just go over the board, take the board apart. It's a 2-board set. Look at all the connectors, clean all the connectors, pull all the socketed chips, clean all the socketed chips, dump the EPROMs, find out if the programs are correct and if the EPROMs are good. Take a look at the sockets, see if the sockets are bad. Might have to replace some sockets. So there's still hope for this board. So let's take a look at it. Okay, well, I removed the rainbow cable. I removed the 2 ribbon cables that connected the 2 boards together. I've taken all the plastic supports that hold the board together, and I've separated the two boards. So now what I got to do is take pictures of all these socketed chips on the board so I can tell where they go when I go to put them back. Once I document where everything is on both boards, then I'll start removing all the chips, and then I'll clean the chips. I'll check the sockets, see if the sockets need replacing, and we'll also go to the programmer and we'll check these EPROMs and see if they have the if they're good and if they have the correct program on them. As far as the proms on the board, I think it has some proms here. Yeah, this board here has 4 proms on it. I'm pretty sure they're proms. They got the TPP2 numbers on them. So I don't have a way of checking those, but if the legs look good, then we're just going to go with them. And we got more ROMs here. I think this is the main CPU board. I guess this is the processor, and this is the what do they call that? I forget what they call that on a Nintendo board, but I think that's like a security chip where you have to have a certain one for each board. So what do they call it, PPU or something like that? I don't know. I'm not into Nintendo boards, but we're going to see what we can do about bringing this one back to life. So let me go ahead and document this and then pull the chips and see how bad a condition the chips and the sockets are in, and we'll go from there. Okay, I've started taking the ROM chips out of the CPU board, which is the worst looking board of the two. Definitely has got some corrosion on it, but the chips are looking, I've seen them worse. They might clean up and they might not. They got a little rust, a little corrosion on them, but the sockets are pretty bad. You can look at those sockets there. They're definitely not the best of shape, so pretty sure I'm going to have to replace all the sockets on the boards. So I'm going to go ahead and continue removing the rest of the chips off of the board. The one that's got me really concerned is, like I say, I think it's called the PPU. They're pretty rusty. And I'll have to look at the schematics. There's no numbers on this chip here. I'm thinking that's probably the CPU, the main processor. I don't know what processor this board uses, if it's a Z80 or if it's something else, but you can look at those pins too, and they're pretty rusty. So all that's probably going to have to be changed out and new sockets put in. So looks like I got my work cut out for me, so might as well just go ahead and jump into it. Okay, well, I had to show you this. I pulled what I think is the PPU. Forgive me if I'm calling this wrong, but one of the pins has rusted off of that. Rest of them, they're not in the best of condition, but may clean up and I may be able to repair that pin. I don't know if you can get these. I'm going to have to do a little research and see if these are available. Has anybody made replacements of these? Or I don't know. I'm just going to have to figure that out as I go. Also, this what I think is maybe the processor. You can see the pins are pretty rusty on corroded on that too, but they didn't break, but it's no numbers on this at all, so I'm going to have to look up the schematics on that. But the socket that I took it out of, I want to show you that. Here you go. We had some spiders living underneath it. Of course, they're all dead, but they got, looks like about 4 spiders there and a web. And you can see those connectors on that, or the pins will make contact on the IC there. They're just toast. So yeah, all those sockets are going to have to be replaced. Just thought I'd show you what mess I got here. The things we do to bring these old games back to life. Okay, what I'm doing now, I don't know if it's necessary, but this particular board here, the chips the legs are pretty rusty on the ones that's soldered in. So I'm going to take the fiberglass scratch pen, and I've already done half of this board and I'm started on the back side. I'm just taking and scratching each side of the chip to clean the rust off of the chip. Then after I do that, then I'll give the board a bath, and I don't know if I'm going to use vinegar and distilled water or if I'm going to use toilet bowl cleaner, but I'm going to give it a bath and clean it up real good and dry it off before I start pulling any sockets off. So this seems to be working pretty good, this method. I've never done it before, but I figured I'd go ahead and show you how I'm doing it here. And as you can see right here, I've already done these, and they're pretty shiny, but these are kind of rusty. So let me hit this one right here, and I'll show you my technique. Hold it with my right hand. I'm right-handed. And I'll take my left thumb and push against the pin, because when you're cleaning these legs, the legs have a tendency to catch on the fiberglass pin here, and it's hard to go back and forth. I mean, you could do it like this, I guess, but it's kind of hard. So the thumb kind of helps me push it along, so you can just force it right on through. And I thought about getting a little like a brass wheel or some type of wire wheel on a Dremel, and you could probably do the same thing, but I figured I'd just do it by hand. And it's not taking much to knock most of the rust. Some of them are worse than others. Some clean up pretty good. So as you can see, now they're cleaned up pretty good. So I just wanted to demonstrate what I'm doing on this particular board. The other board is in a lot better shape. Evidently this board was sitting up and got more moisture than the other side. So must have been in a high humidity area, or it could even have gotten rained on before. The person I bought this from has the eBay store. They have a few arcade items, but not that many. They seem to be more like an antique or a thrift store type deal. They have clothes. They have like old antique woodworking tools, and just a variety of a little bit of everything. And they just had a few items that were arcade related. So I figured they probably found this board or found this game somewhere, and they just parted it out. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and then I'll probably check the chips that I pulled out to see if any of those are good, if any of them can be saved, or if I just need to go ahead and get some new EPROMs and burn some new EPROMs. And then once we get the boards cleaned up, I'm going to take all the sockets off and replace the sockets. And then we can repopulate the board, put it all back together, and see if the board will come to life. If not, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
I'm a sailor. I'm a sailor man. I'm flying things that is Minecraft like a sailor.